Welcome to Lesson 1, Part 2 of Unit 7, Translations. Here we're going to formalize what we talked about and looked at in the first video. So, a transformation is an operation that maps or moves a figure to an image. And everything we talk about in this unit is going to be a type of transformation. Specifically, this lesson, we were talking about a translation. A translation is basically a slide. You're going to slide your image around. And the image is the new figure created after your transformation. So, some properties of translations is that the original is congruent to the image. So we're not actually changing what the picture is, we are just moving it around. And there's a couple rules that we can use to describe them, and you'll see them used to perform. If we have our original point at xy, our image will be x plus a and y plus b, where a and b are what you're doing the translation for. One way we can say translation is we can say you slide it right or left, and how much do you slide it up and down. You can also see it written like this here. T, A, comma, B, where A is right and left, your x-axis, and B is up and down, your y-axis. So here we have a picture of a translation. Your original, whenever you name it, letters are going to look like this. They're just going to be regular. The image is going to have these little things up here called primes. And it's pronounced A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. The prime tells you that this is an image of what we saw. Is the original. Now if we're going to describe this translation, what we need to do is we need to look at the original point and the image point. So over here in the left, I'm going to look. A was at 5,8, and we translated it to 7, negative 1. B was at 9,8, and we translated B prime to 11, negative 1. C was originally at 9,5, and we translated C prime to 11, negative 4. And D was originally at 5,5, and we translated it to D prime at 7, negative 4. So what we do is you need to look at each one, look at each x, and see what happens each time for the x-axis. So we go 5 to 7, 9 to 11, 9 to 11, 5 to 7. So it looks like we're going plus 2 each time. So we can say, we can call that as right 2. Or if we're going to use the T rule, we're going to go T, and then we're going to put plus 2, comma. I'm going to make this right 2 smaller to give myself some room. So right 2. Then we need to look at the y's, and what happens with the y's. Well, it looks like we go from 8 to negative 1, so we went down. We went 8 to negative 1. We went down again. 5 to negative 4, 5 to negative 4. So to go from 5 down to negative 4, we have to go down 9. So it looks like we went down 9, or if we're going to use the T rule, negative 9. And the nice thing about translations is you can just count, or you can just look at this and see what happened. And this is one way we could write it here, or we could write it this way. Either one is an appropriate way to write your translation. So here we have another translation. What I want you to do is I want you in your group to describe the translation from triangle ABC to triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. So go ahead and pause the video and do that now with your group. And here are the two ways you could write to describe that translation. It went right 5, down 5, or you could say t plus 5, comma, negative 5. Sometimes you're asked to actually perform a translation. That's what this next one is. I'm telling you, you have WX, ZY, you have this polygon. It's a square, to be more specific. And I want you to perform a translation where you go -2 on the x-axis, 3 on the y-axis. And you know what? I don't like that. Let's change that. Let's actually change that around. Let's do that as 3, -2. So we have actual room on our graph, because I didn't give you enough room to do that. The first one. So we're going to do T3, -2. So go ahead, pause the video, and perform that now with your group. And this is the image that you should get after you have performed that translation. So this is the end of Lesson 1 of Unit 7.